Heroes of the Merchant Marine. Heroes of the Merchant Marine. The thrilling true stories of men who are heroes aboard ship. A program salute to the men who serve and live for their country by sailing the world's seaways to deliver to our troops and allies the vital supplies of a victorious new world. Heroes of the Merchant Marine is a series of programs dedicated to America's brave merchant seamen, the everyday common men who are heroes every day they sail the pathways of the world. These are true stories narrated by Ray Lewis and transcribed from the confidential files of the War Shipping Administration. And now for the thrilling true story of Lewis George Finch, here is Ray Lewis.
As almost everybody knows now, heroism is not a far-off, technicolored storybook word. It can be very real, and at the moment, very unglamorous. And heroism is not restricted to silver stars or gold braid or a famous name. No, we've learned through many a costly, bitter example that heroism is very democratic. It's not reserved for men of any special class or a certain nation or a particular branch of the service. But it is exclusive about one thing. Heroism insists on courage. And that's what this story is about. It's about the courage of a very ordinary fellow by the name of Finch, Lewis George Finch, born February 4th, 1919, Springfield, Massachusetts. Later moved to Lowell, went through the normal public school system, joined the United States Maritime Service in the winter of 1941, and after the proper instruction and training, was designated able seaman and assigned duty aboard the SS Amedio for his first voyage. Just an ordinary, regular fellow with an ordinary, regular background so far. What was to follow on that first voyage was far from ordinary or regular. It was December 1941. We were going through our formal introduction to war. We were getting acquainted with the lists of American dead and wounded in the papers. We were learning how it feels to retreat. We had learned that the Japs weren't cute little people who lived in a comic opera country. And we learned, some of us, for the first time in our lives, how it feels to be really afraid. And the crew of the SS Amedio had another lesson to learn, that war can be very close to home. The tanker was loaded with the oil and petroleum that our men in the Philippines were praying for, and they were just a couple of hours off the coast of California. It was broad daylight. The men squinted in the glare of the sun and wondered how long it would be before they'd get into the war zone. But they didn't have long to wait. They were in it.
General quarters. General quarters. Enemy sub sighted off starboard bow. Man your battle stations. All hands, man your battle stations.
Hey, Finch, we're turning around. Heading back to shore.
Yeah. Trying to race the sub. Can you see it, Haley?
No, can't make it out. Maybe it's a false alarm. Maybe somebody was just seeing things.
I don't know. It doesn't seem possible. We're only a few miles from the coast, and all of a sudden...
He's not sparing the steam, the captain. He's rocking this tub with all he's got.
Joe! Look starboard now. Do you see what I see?
The sub! She's surfaced, Finch. She's surfaced. A Jap sub.
That's what we were asking for when we shipped on this tanker. And that's what we get.
She's following us all right. Hey, look, her deck gun. Look, and you see? Hey, they're loading. Hey, get down, Finch.
Wide. It went wide.
Yeah, they say they got lousy shooting knives. Gee, nearer there. They're getting closer. They're gaining on us, Finch.
They got the wireless. Smack into the antenna, Joe.
The antenna? Hey, you know what that means? Cut off. Cut off from all help. No radio. Just us and the sub.
How much do you know about wireless antennas?
Hey, you mean?
I mean rigging one up. It's a two-man job. I'm going to give it a try.
Not without me, you're not. I'm with you.
We're just a couple of stupid glory hogs. Come on, we'll have a try at it.
Just two glory hogs. With that deck and the superstructure being racked with the most unglorious shrapnel you ever saw. Finch and the first mate climbed the superstructure, miraculously being missed by the sub-shells. They proceeded to re-rig the ship's wireless antenna, splicing the heavy wires, rigging them up on the mast with a block and tackle. And the Japs didn't like it.
Have to get this rigged up at the top of the mast. Don't give me too much slack on my way up.
Good luck, boy. Hey, watch it.
Are you scared, Haley?
Yeah.
So am I. Watch those wires.
With shrapnel flying all around him, Finch climbed the mast to rig up the antenna that would bring help. Somehow, with plenty of luck and courage and some skill, the two men finished their job, unhurt. The wireless was rigged up again, and SOS signals from the Amedio pulsed through the air as the Jap sub continued to shell the desperately homeward-bound ship. And help did come.
Look. Do you see what I see?
A plane. It's
Catalina. Did you ever see a prettier sight in your life? The SOS must have got through. You realize that, Haley? The SOS, it got through.
Oh, congratulations, Mr. Finch.
Congratulations, Mr. What's up? It's submerged.
Scared him away, that Catalina. Most beautiful plane I've ever seen.
Abandon ship. All hands, abandon ship. Abandon ship.
Another lesson was learned. Japs meant business and were not easily scared. The sub submerged only to send a torpedo squarely into the shell-torn tanker, and the ship was immediately ablaze with burning oil.
Room for a couple of more in this boat. 2 more. Here, Carson. Over. Easy. That's it. There. 1 more. Wounded first. 1 more.
Finch helped the wounded get into the few lifeboats not wrecked by the sub-shell fire. And soon there was only one boat left, a small work skiff with room for only 4 men. Somehow, 12 wounded men and Finch were crammed into the boat and lowered over the side.
Haley. Haley, how you making out?
I could be worse.
You ought to be able to lay down. Shouldn't be cramped up this way. I'll release the halyard there. There. We're on our own now, fellas. We're away from the ship. Won't be long now. That Catalina saw us go down. Help's coming. You okay, Fatty? Only a little while. Sea's kind of rough, but the loan will be a little while. Just a few miles from the coast. They'll be here any minute. How about you, Samson? How's the burn? Haven't got any first aid with me. Don't mind the sea. It'll calm down. You'll see. Sure, and pretty soon. Joe? Everything okay, Haley?
Cramped. It's cramped.
Yeah. It's cramped. Only should be 4 men in this skiff, Joe. There's 13. But that's one thing I can fix. Here, hold on to these for me.
What?
My seaman's papers and my Bible. Hold on to them for me. I'm going to make some room here. Hold on to them.
And Lou Finch jumped out of that skiff crowded with wounded and into the rough, churning sea. He saw that the little overburdened boat might easily be swamped by the high, rough waves. And so he jumped overboard and hung on to the gunwales of the tiny skiff, and hung on for all he was worth as the sea pounded him, pulling him away from the skiff and then battering him against it. But still he hung on, giving the 12 wounded men in the boat a few more inches of room for their suffering, as his fingers clutched at the gunwales on the side of the boat. Clutched and hung on for all he was worth. And this, a few miles off the California coast.
Haley. Joe. How is it up there?
Yeah.
Don't cork out of me, Joe. You gotta hold on to those papers for me, boy. Just hold on.
Hold on. That's just what they did. The 12 burned and bleeding men in the little skiff, and the other man holding on to the boat's side as the pounding sea tried to beat him into submission. And finally, after an hour and a half... Hey!
A boat! They're coming this way. It's all over, fellas. There's another boat coming this way. Hey, can you hear me? Did you hear what I said? It's all over. They'll be here in a minute.
Yeah. I hear you, Finch.
Good man, Joe.
And to another good man of the Merchant Marine, a good man named Finch, who had more than his share of honest, selfless courage. From the President of the United States went this Merchant Marine Distinguished Service Medal with this citation.
The President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Merchant Marine Distinguished Service Medal to Louis George Finch, seaman, for heroism above and beyond the call of duty. While his ship was under heavy shrapnel shell fire, he volunteered to go aloft with the first mate and assisted him in rigging an emergency antenna. In the ensuing action, the ship was sunk, and most of the lifeboats damaged by shell fire and a torpedo hit. Finch was among the last to abandon ship with the wounded in a small and overloaded workboat which was in danger of swamping in the rough seas. He voluntarily went over the side in order to lighten the boat's load and held on to the gunwales until picked up by another lifeboat about 1.5 hours later. His extraordinary courage and disregard of his own safety will be an enduring inspiration to seamen of the United States Merchant Marine everywhere. For the President, Emory S. Land, Chairman.
Of Louis George Finch, which you have just heard, was one in a series of Heroes of the Merchant Marine. Program salutes to our brave merchant seamen, as transcribed from the confidential files of the War Shipping Administration.